this area in the Pacific Gyre, it isn't just one area. There are loads of areas. How big is this problem? I mean, I've heard twice the size of Texas. I'm not quite clear as to how terrible this problem really is.
The world has 11 gyres that are major gyres. It has hundreds of small gyres. We see them any place there's currents by a breakwater or river mouth, you'll find small gyres. But of the major gyres, 8 of them are actively collecting plastics. 5 are particularly bad. And if you're talking about the North Pacific Gyre, it's an area that basically goes from 500-600 miles off the west coast of the U.S., passes north of Hawaii, and goes to 500-600 miles off the coast of Asia. So you're talking about something, bigger than the continental U.S., but it's not solid garbage. So I believe that the misconception of talking about the size of the state of Texas and then double the size of the state of Texas is, what would happen if all of it was condensed, and it's somebody's idea of that. But, clearly, we are going to manufacture 330 million metric tons of plastic in 2010. And the statistics vary between less than 6.8% to less than 5% of that gets recycled. So recycling makes a big difference. I mean, I'm here at this expo. Rainbow Light asked me to come, and they have done new packaging, which they call EcoGuard, which is done of recyclable plastic and plastic that is also able to be recycled. And in fact, in terms of a global warming energy effect, by using 100% recycled plastic, you're making your footprint 76% less. So the whole idea of the health industry being an area where people can lead the way, as they have with organic foods and with the good supplements and vitamins, people can lead the way in terms of packaging. And I know that Rainbow Light is happy to share all of their research and information, because their goal would be to see many other people replicate what they're doing.
And the plastics in the ocean eventually can end up in us through fish consumption, through fowl consumption. And I also saw on shores of certain beaches in the North Pacific, the sand is primarily made up of plastics. Now, what happens when this plastic gets ground down into something even finer? Does it end up in the air?
I don't really know the answer to that question, but that sounds like a possibility to me. All that I know from being with the scientists out there last year, I know that I am very dedicated to ocean cleanup. I think I am able to talk a lot of the good fishermen into becoming dedicated to ocean cleanup, because one really doesn't feel like eating fish if you think the fish are ingesting, because I know that the little pieces of plastic act like a sponge absorbing toxins, and so they really are not healthy to be getting into our food chain. And there's a lot of information about how much it's affecting seabirds at Midway Island, which is the breeding ground for many, many albatross. About 2/3 of the baby chicks are dying now because their parents feed them plastic. And we saw birds eating plastic at sea. And I think our studies will show that the myctophids, which usually eat plankton, are eating plastic. And I know that like sea turtles are really an endangered population. And a lot of that is plastic bags look like jellyfish. I'm not anti-plastics. I mean, obviously, plastics, these recycled plastics, are a great material for vitamins because they keep them fresh and they're good for shipping and storing. And plastics can be great for building materials or for certain medical uses. But the whole idea of using plastics for things you use very briefly and then throw away, and the plastic lasts for centuries, is just clearly something that's not sustainable on this planet. We're going to be buried in our garbage if we don't become more of a zero waste society and figure out how to reduce, reuse, and recycle.
So that is the solution. I mean, using less plastic, perhaps buying in bulk at a store instead of using a plastic bag. Even at this show, I noticed there's a lot of plastic at the show. And this is the Natural Products Expo. You'd think these people are more conscious than perhaps the rest of the population, but yet there's so much plastic and one-use plastic. So have you heard of any solutions to perhaps, I guess we talked about bioplastics, but what are some of the other solutions that you know of?
Well, what I think is encouraging is I think small changes by everyone make a huge difference. I mean, for people to use reusable water containers.
Right.
And, a lot of people I know in the last year have changed to using all reusable water and beverage containers because they've heard me go on and on about this. And, in grocery stores now, I think they're selling, mesh containers that you can buy a package of 12 and then use them for your fruits and vegetables rather than using plastic. And we're all creatures of habit. I'm not a perfect person myself, but I think we all need to be making the small changes that end up making a big change for the planet. And I think the same thing is true corporately. If you take companies that create more sustainable products, I believe that's what people really want. I mean, I've actually heard here at the show that there have been studies done, and people are willing to pay more. Even people that don't have much money are willing to pay more to do things that are sustainable and better for the planet. And so I hope that companies will really hear that and realize that, it's each of our responsibility. If you're running a company or designing packaging or creating product, you have a tremendous opportunity to be creative and be helpful and make things better. And I think we're reaching a real tipping point of awareness. We have to all be acting to make things better. I mean, that's why I'm going out on the ocean, why I'm talking to fishermen, why I've taken on cleaning this up, is because I'm a ocean person.
Right.
But, I believe very much in recycling. I mean, I don't like to think of our landfills getting full of all this garbage as well. We have to figure out ways to live in a more healthy, friendly manner. And this expo, I think, is filled with people that have that intention, but maybe some of them need more inspiration from certain leaders like Rainbow Light, and there may be many other leaders in this area towards really helping us live better and create things that aren't harmful to the planet. And packaging is a huge area that we need improvement in.
I would recommend all of you check out projectkaisei.org and learn more about what's going on in the oceans. It is a severe problem, and we do need to correct this problem, and sooner the better. Thank you so much, Mary. Take care.